What is up, guys? Clay Enjoyer here, and it's time to enjoy. And in this video, there's a spinning wheel. But in actuality, this is more a little series. In my troop, everyone has patrols, obviously. The zombie bear was the first one, and for this one, I'm making a samurai panda, followed by whichever one the wheel lands on next. So, like a sculpture normally goes, I can start building up very quickly with clay, blending in bunches of clay to give the panda his signature oomph, I guess. I never really expected pandas to be muscular, and I guess from all the pictures I've seen of pandas, they're not really muscular. Especially because this panda is going to be slightly more humanoid, and just like any humanoid creature, it needs some feet, which is what I can add right now, which are a little bit blocky for my liking, but I'll eventually smooth them off camera, or not. I think I actually ended up forgetting, but that's okay because something that I didn't forget is to add the detail to said feet. Wait, that sounds wrong. I swear I don't like feet. With the feet done, I can then start to add the arms, which are pretty simple. They're only 2 cylinders of clay mushed on the wire. And I don't know if you guys actually knew this or not, but pandas almost have no detail on their arms because they're just giant sausages, which is essentially what I did to this sculpture, which you can see slightly to the side. But I can start making the head instead because I didn't want to make the hands, and I assumed that this would be a little bit easier, which it was, because all I need to do is some blending, starting with the nose face thing. I don't know, this isn't actually the nose, the snout, that's what it's called, before then adding the nose. My bad, I'm sorry I couldn't get all the correct samurai panda biology, but what I am happy about is making this face look very upset, kind of like all animal faces do. I don't know, they always seem to look upset at something. But with the eyes in place, I can blend everything together, which also includes these extra bits of clay on the side, because I thought the panda's face was looking a little bit too slim, and I needed to give him some extra fluff. Followed by 2 ears with some holes in them later, so it looks like he can actually hear. Then I can stick it on to the body and make it look sort of correct. I don't know, it looks kind of wrong right now, but I think that's because he doesn't have anything else. Or maybe hands, I don't know. But those hands I can add right now. And as you guys know, I love to cut corners when it comes to making hands. So for this bear, I actually gave it only 4 fingers instead of 5. I know, I'm just such a revolutionary kind of guy. It was definitely super easy. But with that out of the way, I can also add a thumb, because this bear actually needs to be able to hold his future swords. Well, technically katanas, but I feel like they're close enough to the same thing. Fight me in the comments. I don't really know what the difference is. But what I do know is that this bear needs some armor, which I can start by making right now with all of these sheets of clay, which will be a very familiar thing throughout the rest of this entire video because I have to mirror it on both sides and cover everything in armor, just like this chest plate, but some of the armor does get these circles on it. But that's mostly just the front panels because I wanted a tiny bit of extra detail, and I think this works just fine. This poor bear's stomach is really exposed though. I think it needs a chest plate of its own, which I can add right now, before then also adding some additional straps right in between each panel and on the shoulders, because I want this to look like it's not just glued to the bear, and looked like it's harnessed to him or just connected somehow. I don't know if there's any actual straps or not, but what I do also know is that the leg armor is pretty much the same thing as the arm armor, I guess, but it's on the legs, so that actually makes it a little different. I know, shocking information. After every battle, the samurai pandas like to chill out taking nice showers, so they need towels to cover up their bits, you know? Which is what this piece of clay is here. Definitely not like an armor skirt kind of thing whenever I looked up a picture of samurai armor. But with the stomach chest plate back in, I can give the skirt a little bit more of the similar details to cover up that little smudge thing where the pieces wouldn't blend together. But I can do the same thing for the sides as well to give them a little bit of additional protection and a little bit of variation, because I think it looks a little better than having the same pattern on everything. But with his raincoat in place, I need to give him a little bit of trim on the sides to make it look a little less goofy, which is what this strand of clay here is for. And for the astute viewers that were watching this video so far, the ears have disappeared, but now they've reappeared. It's almost like a magic trick. Definitely not carving out holes in the hat, but what I do know is true is that I can blend this little smudge of clay on the top of the helmet. Even though it does look a little bit goofy right now, but trust me, it'll look good in 2 seconds. With this little crest on top, that is what it's for, because whenever I looked up pictures of the samurai armor, that's kind of the thing that came up, followed by a head strap as well. But even though most helmets more had a faceplate as well, but I think this is close enough, followed by the katanas that also look good enough, but I'll make sure to add those later, starting by painting the panda his white face to make him look even paler than me. With the white on the limbs as well painted off camera, I can now paint all the black areas, including the legs, the upper arms, the feet, the face, and mouth. But with all that black and the white done as the base, I can cover all this off-white disgustingness in this nice maroon, followed by more maroon because this paint didn't want to apply very well for some reason, so I had to go back a couple of times. But don't worry, that's not a pleasant viewing experience, so I only did the first coats on everywhere else, including the back, the legs, the sides, the arms, the chest, and the helmet, because of course those are the most interesting parts, especially when the red dries and it forms one single coat, which looks so much better than only one coat in my opinion at least. But at this point in the video, I think my camera starts struggling a little bit because all the colors are so dark, and this brown right here on all the straps really isn't helpful because I can only squint, and that's the only way I can actually see that those are different colors. Even though the sculpture does look really good up to this point, I think it looks a little flat and a little bit hard to see. So to fix that, I'm going to dry brush some lighter red over all the armor bits to give it a little bit of detail and also make it look like it's been damaged or scraped or scratched or whatever you want to call it. And then I can do the same thing with another lighter red as well to really bring out the damage, mostly because I didn't think this detail really popped enough, so I thought this lighter red applied here made a lot more sense and was a lot more visible, giving more detail. Obviously, it's all about detail here in this video, as well as in the belt and straps, which get a lighter brown in the middle, which is sort of messily blended outward to make it look like the belt has been weathered and is maybe cracking a little bit from extended use. To keep with that same light brown design, I can do that thing on the crest as well, but I will end up using a little bit more yellow off camera to try and give it a little bit more texture, but I guess I'm going for this color for whatever this thing is actually going to be. I'm not entirely sure, but what I am confident about is that these buttons are going to be gold, but the gold needs a bright base to hold on to instead of the maroon, which would be difficult to say the least, and 20 billion coats. But with the gold done and the swords in place, because I did them off camera, I'm going to start making the base, which is going to be a circle, like always, painted in this very, very dark brown. It's actually so dark, I just thought it was black, but I swear that it was brown. But don't worry, I'll fix it a little bit later, after I paint the trim of course, because if it's black, then I usually paint my builds trims black anyway, so this is a perfect match. So what I can do to fix said problem is blending in lighter shades of brown. But I'm only going to end up covering it in a bunch of grass, so it's not going to be like that detail even mattered before. And for the final touch to finish up this base, I can give it some slightly darker green grass to add as some variation, before then putting in place the Samurai Panda in all his glory. And now it's time for the reveal. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe for more katana slinging pandas next. And another cool thing is that I'm actually going to start a Patreon soon. It might be in a couple days though, I gotta figure it out, iron out the kinks. Well, thanks for watching, goodbye.